Hi, my name is Liz Hathaway and this is my look at the week ahead, my astrological look at the week ahead. And it's the week starting the 2nd of March 2020. My goodness, we're in wet seasons. Sun in Pisces, Neptune in Pisces, Mercury retrograde in Pisces. I don't know if there's much more water up there. I seriously think this is the wettest month I can remember in my lifetime. It's unbelievable. So what else is happening this week apart from rain and apart from coronavirus? Well, so let's sort of take a look. We're starting the 2nd of March. We've got Tuesday Venus in Aries square Saturn. It was wonderful, you know, fist in the air, give it up, feisty, bold, emboldened, give it a go, can do. Venus runs into, you know, sort of slow down, take a breath, read the small print. You can't come in unless you sign here. You can't, you know, this is a serious curbing, if you like, of this amazing energy that Venus has at the moment. Everything seems to be about responsibilities. It's about the burden of love or life, or, you know, nothing is just a box of chocolates when you get Venus square Saturn. Okay, it's good for some things. It's good for marriage vows. It's good for, you know, if you want to, you know, do something serious, this is a good energy for it. But it really doesn't feel like enjoyment. It very much feels about, I have to do this. This is something I owe the other person, the relationship demands it. And in terms of creativity, everything seems to take longer than planned, because Saturn Capricorn is the principle of time, and it sort of clips the wings of Venus and it slows things down. This theme of slowing down, we could see it as well with Mercury retrograding back into Aquarius on Wednesday. So that's picking up on stuff that was going on in early February, if you like, when Mercury was in Aquarius previously. So it's a kind of irrational, it's a clear thinking, it's kind of all that emotional, psychic sort of stuff is out of Mercury when it gets into Aquarius. Things become much more factual, if you like. Let's keep it real. Let's not go into fantasy island. Mercury in Pisces can get very carried away and swept away with, you know, all that psychic material that it picks up on. It becomes much more rational, Mercury in Aquarius. While at the same time on Wednesday, we see the moon moving into Cancer. So it's going to be picking up on all that Pisces energy at some point too. So we're coming into, you know, we're slowly approaching now the kind of, you know, full moon as well, which is, you know, next week. It's still in that phase where the moon is growing in light, and yet we know any time the moon is in Cancer at the moment, it's going to run into a whole wagon load of planets on the other side of the coin in Capricorn. So it's a difficult sort of period every time moon is in Cancer in a way. So we're quite lucky in this moon Cancer phase that we have those Pisces planets which are going to give it a channel. So moon is going into Cancer, and then Thursday we see Venus moving out of Aries, out of, you know, it's been slowed down, it's had the square with Saturn, and then it comes into Taurus, the sign where it has rulership. It's moving into much, you know, you could say has a lot more dignity in some ways here. It's a much more placid Venus. It's a much more contented Venus in some ways. I mean, Venus in Taurus, you know, if it's got the creature comforts, you know, it's going to be quite happy in that field. You know, it'll graze there quite comfortably. It's very into established relationships. It's very into building things up, wants to see a relationship grow. It's a nurturing sign. The moon is exalted here, remember. So it's taken care of. It's a very devoted Venus in a way. So we see as well, you know, we have Venus in Taurus, Sun is still in Pisces where Venus is exalted. So the feminine things here are really coming to the foreground, you know. So yeah, there's a lot of nurturing and caring and looking after relationships. And certainly as well, it's a boon to creativity as well. Any kind of creative endeavour has that ability now to increase. Rules the voice as well. There's a lot to do with the vocal cords here, you know, singing, chanting, spiritual supplications, if you like. Friday, we see then indeed the moon in Taurus is running into, sorry, the moon in Cancer opposite Pluto, opposite Saturn. So that's kind of as well. You know, the moon in Cancer is very connected and very close and doesn't like to lose the connection, whereas Saturn and Pluto, it's very often about building walls, it's about closing off, it's about distancing. So these periods with the moon in Cancer can be quite emotional. There's kind of a lot of emotional turmoil later in the week, especially when we get into Sunday, when we see Sun conjunct Neptune and Venus conjunct Uranus. Sun conjunct Neptune, in one way, of course, this is, this is almost like, has a divine feel to it. You know, we can really surrender to something bigger than ourselves. We can really feel a sense of great devotion to a cause or to someone, or, you know, it's very, self-sacrificing in a way too. It's the typical empath. This is a signature for the empath. You know, it's soaking up a lot of the feelings of the people around. So there is that sense, certainly on Sunday, you almost need a bit of Saturn Pluto in there, and Jupiter in Capricorn. You need to have some borders in place here, because this can be extremely emotional as well. So it has a kind of it's kind of complex, Sun conjunct Neptune, because it is very psychic as well. And certainly if you want to lie down and meditate, or listen to some classical music, or surrender to something of the divine, then it's the day for it. But at the same time, we have Venus conjunct Uranus on Sunday, which, again, this is a signature that can manifest itself on many levels. On one side, it can give an existing relationship a real boost. You know, there can be some new energy coming in there, some exciting event, the birth of a child, you know, something new and exciting happening, moving house, these kinds of things, which brings fresh energy, because Uranus always brings something new to the table. But on another level, if a relationship has become, you know, that Venus in Taurus isn't getting her creature comforts met, then this can be disruptive. Although my sense is this feels very much like a storm in a teacup, because I think this is still very early Taurus, and Venus in Taurus, it takes a lot for Venus in Taurus to upset the apple cart, you know. And this feels to me more like, you know, a burst of creativity, and it's falling on the day as well of Sun Neptune conjunctions. So this is an extremely creative day in many respects. The energy is wonderful for anything connected to creativity or contacting the divine, if you like. Okay, that was my take on the week. Have a good one. Speak to you later. Bye.